So how does the world go from a historic peace deal to the brink of all-out war in just 48 hours? I mean, that's not some hypothetical question. It is exactly what just happened, and the shockwaves are already slamming our skies shut, freezing global trade and putting the entire world on edge.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we actually need to look away from the Middle East for a second, because the first, most immediate impact wasn't felt on a battlefield. It was felt in airports and on shipping routes thousands of miles away.
Just take a look at this number, 350 plus. In a single day, just one country's airlines, India's, had to cancel that many flights. Now that's not just a travel headache, we're talking about an estimated 60,000 people left completely stranded as the airspace over a massive region just snapped shut, with almost no warning.
And the chaos wasn't just in the air. Out on the water, Iran made moves to close the Strait of Hormuz. Now, to get the gravity of that, you have to understand this little channel is the choke point for nearly 20% of the world's oil. One move there, and you're basically pinching off a critical artery of the entire global economy.
This is when you knew the threat had truly gone global. The U.S. government issued what's called a worldwide caution, an advisory they almost never use. And the message was crystal clear. The danger wasn't in one little box on the map anymore. The risk was now everywhere. So how did everything spin out of control this fast? Well, to answer that, now we have to zoom right in on the flashpoint. This entire global crisis, you can trace it all back to one critical 48-hour window where years and years of tension just finally boiled over.
I mean, just look at how fast this all happened. It kicked off with these massive, coordinated strikes all across Iran. Then just hours later, the U.S. officially declares major combat operations. And then came the absolute bombshell. Iran confirms its Supreme Leader, Khamenei, was killed. The response was immediate, it was furious, a storm of missiles and drones, and shutting down that vital waterway. It's a textbook domino effect of action and reaction.
But here's the part of the story that is just mind-blowing. This explosion of violence, it didn't just happen out of nowhere. It happened at the exact moment that a huge diplomatic breakthrough was right there within reach, a deal that could have stopped all of this from ever happening. Just listen to this. These are the words from the Omani mediators, and they came out only 2 days before the attacks began. They were talking about an unprecedented breakthrough. This wasn't some tiny step. They were describing a deal even stronger than the 2015 one, a deal that would have guaranteed Iran could never, ever build a nuclear weapon. The whiplash is just stunning. You have this carefully built bridge to peace, sitting right there on the table, getting praised by everyone, and then 48 hours later, it's just shattered by military force. So you basically had two different realities existing at the exact same time. On one side, you have the Geneva talks all about diplomacy and disarmament. On the other, you have Operation Epic Fury, which is all about using military might. The world was literally on two separate tracks, one heading towards a historic peace, the other towards a devastating war. And we know which one was ultimately chosen. You know, with all the talk about geopolitics and military strategies and who's to blame, it's so easy to lose sight of what's really at stake here. The immediate, tragic price of all of this is being paid by ordinary people on the ground. Just in the first wave of attacks, Iran's Red Crescent reported at least 201 people killed, over 700 injured. And let's be really clear, these aren't just statistics. These strikes hit densely populated areas. We're talking about civilians, families, just caught in the crossfire. The UN's top human rights official, Volker Turk, he pointed out this awful, predictable truth about war almost immediately. He said bombs and missiles don't solve problems. They just lead to death, destruction, and just profound misery. It's a tragic reminder that it's always the civilians who pay the ultimate price. So, let's zoom back out again and see how the rest of the world is now bracing for whatever comes next. Because that initial shockwave is past, but the aftershocks, well, they're just getting started. At an emergency UN Security Council meeting, the Secretary General laid it out in the starkest possible terms. He said, look, this isn't just another regional conflict. This is a match that's been lit, that could ignite a chain of events that no one can control. And you want to see what that looks like in the real world? Here you go. The U.S. State Department immediately jacked up its travel advisory to level 4. That's the highest it goes. It basically means do not go for any reason, period. The list of risks is just chilling. Terrorism, unrest, kidnapping, even getting arrested just because you're an American. The message could not be more direct. If you're there, get out immediately.
And so that's where we're left. The path of negotiation was literally destroyed right as it was about to reach the finish line. The path of military escalation, that train has left the station. The consequences are already being felt around the globe. So with that diplomatic off-ramp now in ashes, the terrifying question is, what happens now?